I'm Captain Chuck Dyer, your FedEx Master Executive Council and Negotiation Support Team Coordinator. Today I'm joined by Captain Scott Stratton, your Master Executive Council Chairman. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Chuck, how are you?
Pretty good. Can you bring us up to date on the developments at the negotiating table during the December session?
Sure. In the December session, we started off with Section 27, which is healthcare, that went well. It was our proposal. It was very creative. I thought the R&I committee just did an excellent job putting together, kind of a hard challenge, which is to deal with the Affordable Health Care Act, but to do it in a focused, realistic, and fair manner. They did a good job. It was received well by the company. We then rolled into scheduling, and as you know, we've had no luck with scheduling. It's been total roadblock. The only thing that the company has been willing to talk about has been PBS. During the last negotiating sessions, we pretty much bypassed that completely and talked about our proposal in scheduling, which was a tremendous improvement in what we have seen. We then had a very good conversation in the first one in a while, although it didn't go as far as we would like in the training section in Section 11. That impediment to that has been, to a degree, the change in the structure over at FedEx on the training end. So I would say it was a good week. That being said, PBS still resides in the contract, and there's been no change to our position.
Okay, PBS is still in there, which seems probably a little bit surprising. When the company produced its series of articles, which I guess could best be described as a sales promotion job for PBS, the pilots obviously reacted strongly. We gave them an opportunity to weigh in on that. 4,300 plus of them made it known that they really were not entertaining an idea of PBS. With that in mind, did you expect that the PBS might possibly have been removed at this session?
Well, I think what to expect. I'm very pragmatic about these things. I don't really assume anything. We plan for every iteration and every possibility. I think so. A better question for me would have been, as opposed to what did I expect or surprise or any words like that, is what would I have done? I think it would have been prudent for FedEx to withdraw 100% PBS and let's get on to negotiating the contract, because our position hasn't changed and it's not going to change. And let's take that, what I consider really an unrealistic, unratifiable proposal, and let's move forward productively.
What do you think the significance is of the fact that they have not completely removed PBS?
I think that remains to be seen. I think we just talked about the fact that it was a good week. And listen, it was a good week in negotiations, but it's 1 week. And I believe that the next actions will tell the tale. And, so keeping it in to a degree, in there, could it just be to take a look at what the total package is at the end? Could it just be as a way to if you think of a 5-mile walk, the way to make a 5-mile walk is you start walking. Is this just an interim step to the ultimate removal? I think we should prepare for every single iteration, which is why, it's a good week, and I don't think there's anything that has changed in our plan, in our procedures, and what we're going to do going forward. So it's not a time to let your guard down.
Okay, and just to be clear for our pilots, has there been any change to our stance regarding PBS?
Absolutely not.
What do you expect in upcoming negotiations?
Well, if you kind of build off the December, you could say, if you're an optimist, you would say that you're going to see good things in macro. We talked about what was going to be on the table, but if you want to think of it in macro, if you're an optimist, you'd say, well, that bodes well. And if you think of how FedEx negotiates historically in 2006 and the 767 talks, they kind of followed a template, if you will, which is start very low, undoable, unrealistic, concessionary, and then you come up a little and then things accelerate pretty quickly. That's what happened in 2006. That's what happened in the 767. So if you're an optimist, you could say that that is a turning point, the December negotiations, because they were positive. If you're less optimistic, more cynical, then you would think, well, then these next negotiations that are coming out, not just January, but the ones to follow, would be not so productive. That this improvement in December was some kind of a negotiating tactic. It's as opposed to what it appeared to be. Me, I'm very pragmatic. I don't really assume what's going to happen. I don't really, so therefore I'm not surprised. What I do is I plan, and we plan, really very much with the NST that you're the chairman of, for every possible iteration. I look at everything, bad, good, in the middle, every route, and then we plan for that. So, as far as in macro, how's it going to go in January? We would hope that FedEx would come in ready to negotiate and get this deal, done. And that process should have started before, but let's get on with it. That being said, we'll be prepared for whatever happens.
You just said it about the process. Maybe should have started before. We're coming very close now to the 1-year anniversary of the amendable date. Right. Has it been long enough? I mean, when is the time to get this deal?
Yeah, I think it's been long enough. It's funny. We keep saying this. When is now? And that's it. When is now? I mean, if you think of, we just went through 24 months of interim talks, and then we're coming up a year in direct negotiations. When I think FedEx had a great opportunity, to really lead the industry. We had these interim talks, and come out of the interim talks, and let's get the deal. Very productive in a way that really helps culture. You mentioned corporate culture, builds on that, builds on relationship. And I think they had a tremendous opportunity because the pilots, the leadership, the MEC, the negotiating team had focused, realistic, and fair expectations. So now we're seeing some improvement in that. That's great, okay? It should have happened a long time ago. We should have never had PBS put out after 20 months of interim talks. And so, yeah, when is now? It's time right now. I think we're coming up on the amendable date. That's an important day. I think if things were done correctly from the company side, we'd be having a TA celebration instead.
Scott, you mentioned the time we've been involved in this whole process, and as we go forward here, what can our pilots do to help us bring this to a successful conclusion? Well,
Chuck, I think we've been saying this nonstop for really years now, and because it's so true, I always remember the movie Shrek, where he comes up and the Army's going to arrest him, and he says to the general, he says, "So you're going to arrest me, you and whose army?" And the general looks behind him, and all his troops ran away, and they're gone. We've been seeing the absolute opposite. FedEx looks past us. They look past the negotiating team and the MEC, and they look to the pilots. And what they've been seeing is unity. When they see that, they truly bargain, and I believe that's what we've been seeing. We saw that with the PBS, for example. The PBS button, the reception from our response was just phenomenal. I mean, so many people pressed that button that the server started to have problems, right? I mean, we shut it down because that's the kind of problem you want. Too much support. Yeah, that's good. We saw the same thing at the pub event. We had a cold day, right? Cold night over at Buffalo Wild Wings, right? Mm-hmm. And we had a cold night. It was raining. It was just plain nasty. Plus, it was a big night because the Red Sox were playing playing baseball, and that was important too. And yet, the place was packed. We started to worry. We got there early, if you remember, and we're thinking, "Wow, I hope people come." And what we saw was, then we started to say, "Uh-oh, we're going to run out of food," and that's fabulous. We saw the same thing when we had our joint council meeting. We've been seeing it in the family awareness events. We have a Cologne that's overflowing. We have tremendous turnout in Anchorage. We had tremendous turnout over in Hong Kong. We had a zoo event with 1,700 people, sign up, and we invited, other groups, other employees and other associations to join us. It was a fabulous, fabulous event. That's what'll do it. Stay informed, stay engaged. If the pilots keep showing this level of support, we're going to get the contract that FedEx pilots have earned.
Okay, Scott. We're in the middle of the holiday season here. We've just come through a peak season with the company again. I don't know exactly when this video is going to hit the street, but it will be obviously in the middle of those seasons. Any final thoughts regarding that?
Absolutely. I just talked a lot about, and we of course talk all the time about the importance of family. And it's important. I mean, it's important for the contract, because this isn't a contract for the pilots. It's just not just for me or just for you. It's for Shelley, it's for my wife, it's for the kids, it's for the family. And that's what's so important about the participation we've seen. But the holidays are too, and we're in a holiday period, and it's a time to embrace that. Embrace not just the Alpa family that we're talking about, but the individual families. And what my closing thoughts is just that. Happy holidays, and keep up the great work.
Okay, Scott, thanks so much. Appreciate your time today. You guys out there, you've heard it. I'm going to ask you once again, like I always do at the close of these things, to please stay informed, stay engaged. We're going to get it done.